Okay, so welcome to all of you, everyone. I hope you all are doing great, and welcome to this second session of the SBL recording. Now, the topic that we are supposed to take are the very simple ones, and they will actually help you out a lot. So, without wasting our time, let us quickly move to the screen that I am supposed to share with you. So, this is my own notes that I am preparing for you guys for this SBL session. Now, these notes will be very much helpful for you. Just give me one confirmation whether the notes are visible to all of you or not. Great. Now, the topics for the exam. Now, there are a number of models that we need to cover. If I talk about the models that we will be covering, see, as I told you, you are not supposed to cram up anything. You are not supposed to cram up anything at all. Okay, so there are a number of models which are actually very important. Now, this is not something that I initiated for myself. This is actually one of the very famous tutor, that is Hassan Dosani, who taught me as well. I have just enhanced the notes and enhanced a lot of things which will make it very easy for you guys to understand. So there are certain topics which are actually very important. These are the certain models which play a very important role. If you are looking to pass out the paper, these models are going to help you out a lot. Okay, so what are these models all about and what do we have? Well, why you should be the one that should take care of this model? Let us understand. Okay, now there are a number of models that we will be covering in the coming classes. First of all, what is the importance of model? See, if you are using the models in your exam, it will actually help you out to write down the answer. Second thing is, when you use a model, the examiner thinks like, okay, the student does have an idea of how to write because you are a professional student and you will be writing in a professional manner. So it becomes very important for you to use models. Now, one thing that comes to the mind is, sir, is it compulsory to use the model? Absolutely not. Honestly speaking, it is not compulsory to use the models. You can come up with the answer on your own as well. But if you ask me, I would suggest everyone to use models. Now, why I'm suggesting you guys to use models? It actually enhances your answer and you know what to write and how to start. Because in such a professional paper, what happens? You have a lot of things to cover. And when you have a lot of things to cover, you're not sure how much you are supposed to write, which makes things a little tricky for you. So it would be better if you write down in such a manner that you understand how much you should be able to write. So what are the models that you will be covering in the class? See, we will be covering all the models. Again, I'm telling you, models not compulsory, but it would be better if you use models. So we have PESTEL model, then we have Porter five forces, and then we have strategic position. So this is what we will be covering in the today's session as well. Then we will try to solve at least one question from each. Since we have a lot of time, we can do that over here. Or I will have a separate session based on to the questions part. Then we have the SFA framework. Just let me check one thing, everyone. Okay, now I'm back to my integrated camera webcam. Okay, so now PESTEL 5 forces talks about the strategic position. Now SFA framework talks about the very same thing. SFA framework is more onto the different aspect actually. Then we have the SWOT analysis. I hope you guys know about the SWOT analysis. There is nothing new to we need to talk about in the SWOT analysis. Then we have a corporate parenting or the BCG matrix. Now BCG matrix, corporate parenting would be an interesting topic to take care of. Then we have ANSOF and the growth matrix. Again, a very simple matrix. Then Harman process matrix. To be honest, these matrices are very simple. Now, one thing that you need to understand is when you should be using which matrix. When you should be using which matrix. Again, the use of matrix depends a lot on to what you are planning to do. Then we have Mendelow's stakeholder matrix. Then we have cultural web. Then we have context of change, risk mitigation process, and a lot more things. Now, when you will be using what, this is what we will be covering because learning is not important. You need to understand when you have to use which model. Again, I'm telling you, Using models is not compulsory. I'll just write it down that you don't, I'll share these notes with all of you. Okay, you don't need to use models as you can answer using your common sense. Okay. So I hope you will remember this thing that it is not compulsory, but it is better, or it is, it is always told to the students to use these matrices because it will improve that how you are writing down the answer. Okay. Now let us move to the first topic or the first model that we have over here, which is regarding the external environment. I'll use my integrated camera only because this one is not working well, to be honest. Now, key topics for the exam. The very first topic that we have is, if the question asks you regarding the analysis, the very first model that we will be using is the PESTEL, Porter 5 and strategic position. How do you identify which model to be used? So one of the key topic of the exam, everyone, that is your external environment. So there can be different types of external environment as well. The external environment comprises factors beyond a business control. I hope you guys understand that fact, that factors which are not a part of the business, which cannot be controlled by a business. So there are two types of external environment. One can be the country's environment. We are talking about the macro factors. Macro factors when we talk about the country itself. Then we have a industry environment. And when I talk about the industry environment, I'm talking about the micro factors. I hope you understand the difference between macro and micro. Okay, this is something of the basic economics that we studied in class 11th and 12th. Now, micro and macro, I hope that part is clear. Country environment, you talk about broad factors. You talk about external factors that affect every industry which is there in the country. So in this time, or in the question, take facts for which actually will hamper different industries. Country environment. Industry environment is specific factors that will affect the business within that industry. I hope up till now you guys don't have any confusion. If you still, feel free to reach out. You can use the chat box, everyone. So which model to be used? Now, when I talk about the country environment or the macro factors, you will be using PESTEL analysis. Make sure that you understand which model to be used. PESTEL analysis, if you're talking about the macro factors. If you're talking about the micro factors, you can use Porter 5 forces. Now, again, sir, is it compulsory? No, it is not compulsory, but it is better if you use these models, because when I'll be solving a question, you will understand that why using a model is much better. I hope this part is clear. Now, macro environment, also called as general environment, and industry environment, also called as competitive environment. So I have written down everything in the notes, which will make it easy for you guys to understand. Now, how to use the models in the exam? See, how to use the models in the exam? You can use PESTEL to explore macro level factors such as political stability, economic trends, social demographics. Please let me know the full form of PESTEL. If you guys know the full form of PESTEL in the chat box, everyone. While I'm teaching you, you can just write down your answers in the chat box. What is the full form of the PESTEL? Then we can analyze the industry environment. Now, when I talk about the industry, I came back to the Porter. Now, Porter 5 forces is used to examine industry specific factors like competition, supplier, whatever is there in a particular industry, we talk about that. Now, PESTEL, whole country, whole environment of the country, industry, competition, part of the Porter 5 forces. So now you will remember two things. When you talk about macro factors, you go to the PESTEL. When you talk about the micro factors, you come to the Porter 5 forces. Now, we can use both PESTEL. Okay, two words are correct. Hansal, very good. Political and economical. Still, you are left with four words. Then analyze both the external environment and the internal environment. If the question asks you to analyze the external environment, you can use both PESTEL and Porter 5 forces. So you have to incorporate relevant factors from both the models depending on the details which are provided in the examination question. Basically, it will be one case, one large case. You have to come up with the answers from that part only. I hope this much thing is clear to all of you. Well done. Technological, legal, social. The last E, which you guys are not able to answer, that will be environmental. So well done, everyone. Now, if you have any question, please reach out in the chat box. Up till now, what is PESTEL? What is Porter 5 forces? Now we are going to cover that part. Okay, what do we mean by the PESTEL framework? What is the meaning of that framework actually? Okay, so let us start discussing about all those two topics that we just discussed in detail now. So first of all, let me discuss PESTEL framework. Now, I hope you guys already know the meaning, and since some of you already texted me in the chat box, what is PESTEL? P stands for political, E stands for economic, S stands for social, T stands for technological, and E stands for ecological or environmental. And the last L stands for legal as well. So this is what the PESTEL framework talks about. So now if you noticed, PESTEL is talking more onto the external factors rather than the company's term. Correct. And all of these things actually company is not able to control. Now, the very first thing that we have in the PESTEL framework is the political. So now what you should be looking for in the exam when I say the word PESTEL? Guys, what you should be looking in the exam? You should be looking for words like government, policies, taxes, political stability, trade, tariffs, subsidies. If you find these words, you just need to copy that statement and put it in your answer. I hope what is that you are looking for? You'll be looking for words which are related to the government. Okay. Then the second thing that we have over here is how to write. So first of all, you have to clearly state the factors will be positive or negative. And what will be the impact of these factors? Will the impact will be negative or will the impact will be positive? So example, favorable tax policies may encourage the business expansion. So this is one example. Now you will be using the facts which are given in the case and you have to describe the impact of those facts in your business. So first of all, identify what is given regarding the political factor, then you have to describe its impact. Now, coming to the economic part, you have to look out for things like economic growth, inflation, interest rate, unemployment, disposable income, and a lot more things can be a part of this thing. Now, after that, how you will be writing? You have to highlight that how the business will be affected because of the change in the economic trend or because of the current economic trend or anything that is actually given in the question. If they are asking, if they are giving you in the case regarding the future thing, so you have to talk about what might happen in the future. Let's say I'm giving you a very simple example. Let's say I have given you that the interest rate will increase in future. For example, I'm giving you interest rate will increase in future. Now, when interest rate increases, what actually happens, everyone? Lower demand of luxury goods. Because people don't want to spend their money. Why they don't want to spend their money? Because now the money is expensive, due to which the demand for the luxury goods actually declines. Bracket mein I'm putting cars. So this is an example that what will happen in the economy. If there's a change in the economy, what will happen? I hope this is clear. Then social. Now, social, someone said that we talk more onto the human part. In social, we talk about demographic trends. We talk about population growth. We talk about education levels, social mobility, consumer behavior, or anything which relates to the society. It could be anything, absolutely. It could be the culture as well. Correct. So, no, culture is a part of social only. It could be the customs, it could be the religion, it could be the beliefs of the people. Now, how you are supposed to write? you have to talk that what the current scenario is and how a change in the social structure can impact the demand for product and services. Example, an aging population may increase demand for healthcare services. Now, what is that aging population? Demographic, sorry, population. Population is aging. Now, instead of aging population, if we have a lot of people which is in the age of 20 to 30, they will be way more inclined towards the gym, because this is actually what is happening in India. We have the highest number of public which is of the age 20 to 35, something like that. That is why the growth of the gym culture is damn too high in India. Correct. Now, just to get a glimpse, how many of you go to the gyms right now? We have like 7 students. Raise your hand if you go to the gym. All of you are not a part of the Indian community. That's great. Yeah, no one in my class is concerned about their health. Okay, at least one. Ananya. Shame on the boys of the class. Okay, Shravan goes as well. That's good. Okay, even when I was in college, I never got the time to go to the gyms. But still, I would suggest you guys to have at least some of the physical activity. It could be running, it could be walking, or anything else. So now that is more onto the social part, everyone. Now moving to the next part, that is technological. Now when I talk about the technological, it is actually very simple. We already know if we have to talk about the information technology, we have to talk about the digital. Okay, so we were discussing regarding the social impact. So social may you have to, no, sorry, social we have completed. We were discussing on to the technological impact. Technological, I hope up till now that is clear. You have to talk about innovation, something regarding the technology, use of technology. Now, how to write? How technology will be improving the operational efficiency. How technology will be improving the operational efficiency. If you write that down, that's more than enough. Now, example, advancements in AI boosting and productivity, use of website or any other thing that can be a part of the technological. Now, next part that we have is ecological or the environmental. Now, when I talk about ecological or when I say the word environmental, I have one thing in my mind that I have to talk about sustainability. First of all, I have to talk about the carbon footprint. I have to talk about the harmful gas emissions. We have to talk about the climate change, something that is related to the environment. It could be a part of, let's say a very simple example. Let's say a company is taking on a new project, and for that project, they have to cut down a number of trees. Can't you put this statement as a part of your ecological environment? Guys, don't you think that could be a very good example? A new project due to which there will be a correct. This thing can be an example. Now, let me give you a very real example. I'm not sure about the date, but Reliance actually back in 2000s, Reliance had to cut down a lot of trees, and for that project, they had to plant trees as well because they don't want to have a very negative environmental impact. Even though regulations were not that strict, they plant a large number of mango trees. Right now, Reliance is one of the largest exporter of mango from India. So this is how actually, if you consider the environment will be helping you out as well. So what we have to now, how do we need to write it? We have to focus on how ecological factors create opportunities and challenges, such as new regulations, cost, green initiatives, and it will also improve the brand image. So that step that Reliance took back in 2000 something, it actually improved its brand image at that time. Now it actually increased the benefit to it as well. Now it is one of the largest exporter of the mangoes, even though the regulations were not that strict. Otherwise, if the regulations are very strict and if you are not taking such steps, You might end up paying a hefty fees as well. I hope this part is clear to all of you. Now, moving to the next part, that is legal. Now, in legal, what you are supposed to look for, everyone, you have to talk about laws, regulations, labor laws, health, safety standards. Now, one thing that you have to consider, so what is the difference between the political and what is the difference between legal? Now, in the political, you will not be talking about the laws of the country. You will not be talking about the legalities of the country. You will be talking about the politics, the political stability, the government, and all these things. In legal, you'll be talking about the laws. Correct. Now, how to write? You have to discuss how legal changes affect business operations. It could be the example could be strict employment laws, which increases the operational cost. Now, recently, what is happening? The government of different countries, or there is a law regarding minimum wage system as well. Now, minimum wage system is a kind of legal item that we have to take care of. Okay, so now these are the 5 things that you have to take care in the pestle analysis. Sorry, 6 things that you have to take care. First, we have political, then we have economic, then we have social, then we have technological, and then we have ecological. I hope this much part is clear to all of you. If you guys have any questions, feel free to use your chat box. Now, how to write in the exam? See, I'll be sharing these notes, so you don't need to write anything in. Everything is written over here. Now, always indicate favorable or unfavorable. Clearly indicate if the factor which they are talking about in the exam or in the case, is it beneficial or detrimental to the business? Whether the case is talking about the favorable change in the factor of the pestle or it is it an unfavorable change. And use phrases like favorable for business growth and unfavorable due to increasing cost. So these are the terms that you will be using. Okay, favorable business growth, unfavorable cost increase. Second thing is to write down the impact and its justification. So if you are saying that this thing is not favorable, talk about the impact of that thing. What you are supposed to do, you have to talk about the impact of that thing. And you have to provide a reasoned justification for your conclusion. For example, lower interest rates are favorable for business expansion as they reduce the borrowing cost. So first is lower interest rate. Is it favorable or non-favorable? Favorable. Now, why it is favorable? Because it will reduce the borrowing cost of the company. Simple. Correct. Now, overlapping factors. Now, what do we mean by overlapping factors? Actually, some factors may fall into multiple categories. Example, a new environment law could be both political as well as legal. So you can include overlapping factors, but justify each factor from different perspective. This is what generally they say in the examiner report says. Honestly, if you ask me, it is better if you write down the overlapping factors, but it's not like a compulsion. If you have already talked about it from the political point of view, there's no requirement that you need to put it in the legal form. Although it is better because it gives an understanding to the examiner that you have a deeper knowledge about your subject. So it would be better if you include the overlapping factors, but justifying each factor from different perspective. Don't use the same language. Okay. So these are the things that you need to take care of. I'm giving you guys 2 minutes to quickly read it. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask questions. Okay, so let us start one question. The name is Dixon Smith Burrell. Since the question was very clear to all of us that they want us to go through the pestle analysis. How did we got to know about the pestle analysis, everyone? If you take a look over here, where is the exhibits are damn too long over here. No, if you take a look over here, the question was very much clear that they want us to. Here, this is DSP. This is not the question that we were discussing. Yeah, analyze the environment for pharmaceutical company. This was the question, everyone. Now, the question is very clear that they want us to analyze the environment. The word environment is there. And then they want us to go for the pharmaceutical companies, which is more regarding the external analysis, correct? Now, we'll start with the very first paragraph. And a lot of things are already given in the pre-seen information, which is already available with you guys. So, first of all, you always read the requirement first. The very first thing that you guys need to do is to read the requirements. Now, if you just come over here, they have this website. Now, website can be a part of the research and development as well, or the part of your technological advancement. Or if there's a research and development, it could be the part of your technological advancement. Now, I actually started reading a bit because I was not reading the question, and I noticed one thing, that first of all, there is some drug approval and regulation authority which closely monitors the testing and is responsible for licensing of drugs. So don't you think that this will be the part of your legal? Just highlight the facts right now. We don't want to understand how to write the answer. We will learn it in the future classes. Then advertising of drugs is controlled and monitored, and action is taken against companies who try to unsustained claims on the benefits of developed drug. So a lot of things regarding the laws are given. Correct. These all are a part of laws. I hope this part is clear to all of you. Then I noticed one more thing regarding the political part, where this is regarding the political part. Okay, I'll highlight with some new color. This is regarding the political part, everyone, because these are the government employees and government pay for their funds. So part of your political. Right now, I just want you to highlight nothing else. Correct. So now, because of this thing, the pharmaceutical companies are under greater scrutiny. So what is happening? I already told you whether it is favorable or unfavorable. You have to talk about that. Now, do you think is it favorable movement? It is kind of unfavorable, because there will be higher level of regulations which will reduce the chances of getting approval for the new drugs, which will make hard for the pharmaceutical companies to grow in the future. Correct. Then challenges. Now there is an economic downturn. Now economic downturn, guys, don't you think can be a part of the economy that we just talked about? So it can be a part of economy. And now you can use this point in your political as well. Now, how do you do that? Don't you think when there's economic downturn, the government will be seeking a greater value for money drug treatments? Correct. Now, in order to sustain the economy, the government have implemented measures such as reduction in state pensions, which have had a particular effect on the country's aging population. Now, the thing is, they are cutting down a lot of things, so definitely they will want a greater value for money. So this thing can be a part of economy and political as well. Now, coming back to the economy, this point that is given over here, the economic downturn will reduce the consumer spending on health insurance, and citizens will be reluctant to seek out the medical treatments because now they will be paying for themselves, which will further harm the growth in the sector. I hope now this part is clear. Now, when we come to the social part, PES, social, medical treatment and insurances are likely to be part of, not very important things or not a necessity for citizens. Correct. So I just said not a it will be considered as a necessity. Sir, how do you know? If you just take a look over here, many nearland citizens take out medical drugs. But this was an evident thing that people take out medical insurances, which is a part of your social. Then one more thing that has been over here is regarding social is
This part again a social fact, because now there is a change. And one more thing, greater proportion of citizens are reliant on the state pensions because of the country's aging population. Now the population is the aging one. There's a change in the social structure, the social population of the country. Now what will happen if there's a change in the population? That will become part of my society. Now a lot of people are unemployed as well. Now unemployment can be a part of your economic factors as well. So now what we are doing, we are overlapping the points. I hope you are getting my point, everyone. What we are doing right now, we are just overlapping. We are using the overlapping points. I don't think that it is a very tough thing to do. We are just using different rates. Now, I already talked about it. Unemployment is a part of economic, but because recently there has been a lot of unemployment, you can talk about the social change, because now people do not have that much of money. I hope this thing is clear. Then when we have to talk about, then sales are given, then future challenges and opportunities. An aging population in the developing world suffers many opportunities to the pharmaceuticals are nothing given over here. Both individuals to question the cost versus benefit. Okay, now research into more cost-effective option is required. Now we can talk about research. So, oh sorry, I need to change the color. When I say the word research, I'll be talking more onto the. I'm talking about the, because in technology we talk about research and development. So the key technological factors likely to come from the development of new drugs. And generally, pharmaceutical companies invest heavily in research and development. And when they get a patent, they create a lot of wealth from there. No, why, sir? How do you know about this thing? Because this thing is given in pre-scene. You can read the pre-scene and check certain data, check certain facts. You can do that, check certain data and facts. After checking certain data and facts, okay, this is the pharma company. How do they operate? For this, you will be getting something which is called as commercial acumen. Marks for the commercial acumen. Correct? Although this is already given over here, with many new drugs taking many years to be formed. Information technology is also changing in the industry, with new technology and computer programming allow faster and more accurate treatments and diagnosis using machines. Now, what will be the effect of this thing? It will improve the revenue levels of the company. Correct? Technology is also improving supply chain management, with individuals ordering potentially directly from the pharmaceutical company via online sales or app-based software. So a lot of things that you can talk about in the technologically factors. Now the next part, PEST. Then we have L and E. Let us start reading, although nothing, I don't think that we'll be finding anything over here. We have to find about the environmental and the legal factors now. I don't think that we have anything over here. Although legal we have already find, sorry. This is legal that we have already discovered. The sector is highly regulated and there's a key threat from the growth from the from this drugs approval authority if it does not approve our drugs. So we have to go through extensive testing, and once a patent has been achieved, then there should be element of high security as well. Correct. So we can do that as well. Now, only thing that we are left with is the environmental. So now, environment, we have to find out if something is given regarding the environment. So this is regarding the patent that I talked about, everyone. Now you can use these data for the technology part as well. Global pharmaceutical company are bribing doctors to run their drugs by. Now, which this statement can be a part of which thing, everyone? Legal. Why legal? Because we studied over there that Tara takes care if someone is bribing the doctors and something like that. Correct? We talked about that thing. Correct? Advertising of drugs and everything like that. So we had an idea that this could be a part of that thing only. So now you can just read out this part as well. I'm still left to find out now bribery allegations as well. Again, something that could be a part of legal. I think just read the question. So we have completed everything. We are just left with the environment part. No, environment may what we can if we will actually find something in the case. I'm not in the mood right now to read out the whole case. So in the environment, what you guys can write. There's a growing demand for the environmental and the social responsibility from the pharmaceutical companies because they are working with the health of the public. So there's a strong corporate social responsibility which is required and which could be a key of success. And if I talk about the environment, it's not the environment, it should be the eco-friendly and sustainability all the time. We can talk about the its ecological balance and its impact for the future. We can talk about the sustainability of the company. And now there is a bribe case that is going on over here, correct? Somewhere over here it was given this one. So if people get to know about this thing, it can be a part of your what do you call it? Environmental as well. From which perspective? From the perspective of bribe, from the perspective of sustainability. Now I hope this question is clear to all of you. Shouldn't it be social? Why social? The bribe factor you are saying? Social is more onto the consumer behaviors, right? The population growth, education levels, and see, as I said, there is nothing right and nothing wrong because they have not let doctors do something for the last few weeks. Okay, where is that?
So they give an example saying doctor personally has
Mm-hmm.
a surgery for over 3 weeks.
No,
So
no.
people are the ones getting affected here.
So you want to include it as a part of the social.
Yes, just about yeah.
To be honest, I don't think because social you generally talk about the society input. Right now, you can just talk about one thing which is given over here. So not too good of a point, correct?